get to essentially make the same video over again. Isn't that great? Caps lose 5-2 this time to the Florida Panthers in a game that looked a lot like their last game against the San Jose Sharks. That one was a 3-2 loss in regulation. The only difference here tonight being the 2 empty net goals scored by Florida. Florida was on the second half of a back-to-back. It did not matter as the Washington Capitals came out for this one yet again and get outshot 14-4 in the first period, becoming a familiar theme of Caps games of late. And yet, even though they are being heavily outplayed and heavily outshot here in the first period, Connor McMichael appears to score the game's first goal. It is a beautiful goal scored by Connor McMichael, but it is offside because here is Alexei Protas with exactly the type of brain-dead play that every Washington Capitals player has been making lately. He does not straddle the blue line, even though no one is pressuring him. And so, upon review for the coach's challenge issued by Paul Maurice, it is clearly offside, and so the goal comes off of the board. Just a good goal, a great goal, really, scored by Connor McMichael that does not count now because, like I said, the brain-dead play at the blue line. Then, of course, the Panthers score first instead. AJ Greer. It is 1-0 Florida, and that is how the first period would end. And the Caps, again, deservedly down after one. Second period, shout out to Jakob Chychrun, who, along with Logan Thompson, was basically the only good part of this game for the Caps. Chychrun, back-to-back rippers for his 16th and 17th goals of the season already for the Washington Capitals. Phenomenal blue liner. Turns this from a 1-0 deficit into a 2-1 lead for the Caps. But that lead, of course, as it so often is for the Caps, was very short-lived. A minute and 36 seconds later, Sam Bennett, 2-2. And now, near the end of the second period, the Florida Panthers, they get the game's first power play here. And I want you to watch just exactly how this goal is able to find the back of the net here for the Panthers. Nick Dowd, right? Could not screen his own goaltender, Logan Thompson, any better if he tried. Seriously, what the fuck is this from Nick Dowd? This is the second game in a row, by the way, that I am saying this, okay? He is directly responsible here for this power play goal scored by the Florida Panthers, which would end up being the game-winning goal. He was directly responsible for the San Jose Sharks game-winning goal just the other night in the Caps' previous game, their previous loss. Back-to-back games here where Nick Dowd is responsible for the opposition's game-winning goal. It has not been a pretty season so far for Nick Dowd, but yeah, just talking about this goal specifically here, what the fuck is this? Like I said, no clue what he is trying to do here. There is absolutely no Panthers player anywhere in front of Logan Thompson, no screen being provided by any Panthers player. So Nick Dowd says, you know what? Let me get that for you. He is standing directly in front of his own goaltender, Logan Thompson, and completely blocking his line of sight. And not only that, but it wasn't good enough to just stand in front of him and make it so that he couldn't see, right? Nick Dowd as well, he's flinging his limb out there trying to play goalie. Ill-advised attempt at a shot block there by Nick Dowd. I am not sure, like I said, what the fuck he is thinking on this play. That is absolutely pathetic, inexcusable, frankly. Can you tell that I'm a goaltender, by the way? Goalies hate this shit when you do this, okay? Do not do it. You learned this from the time that you were 4 fucking years old, not to stand in front of your own goalie and not to try to make the save for them, especially when your goalie is Logan frickin' Thompson, who is probably going to be up for the Vezina Trophy this season. I'm pretty sure, Nick, that he can handle a shot from the fucking blue line with no screen in front. He does not need your help to try and save it. So Nick Dowd, he misses the shot block. Logan Thompson, as a result, cannot see this puck. It sails past him for Uvis Balinskis for the Florida Panthers on the power play goal. And this puts them up here 3-2 late in the second period. Just another brain-dead play here by a Washington Capitals player that now, again, gives the other team the lead. Seeing a lot of that lately. And so, the Panthers now are up here 3-2, and that is how the second period would end. But I do want to stay on Nick Dowd for just a second here, because I do think that it is time that we have a chat about Nick Dowd. Because while I love Nick Dowd, and I have loved him for pretty much all of his 8 years or whatever it's been now that he has spent here. You know how we all, for so many years, we all love to say that Alex Ovechkin was aging like a fine wine? Well, Nick Dowd is aging like 4% milk. And it's not just, like I said, these two most recent games here where he has been directly responsible for the game-winning goals against, both here tonight against the Florida Panthers and in the previous game as well against the San Jose Sharks. Both regulation losses in both games, he is directly responsible for the game-winning goal against. So that is kind of what has sent me over the edge here, but it is not just about that. It has been such a longer time coming than just that, right? Pretty much all season long, he has not been good. And in fact, only referring to him as not good is probably being generous at this point. His offense has disappeared, like fallen off the face of the earth. He is a defensive liability out there all of a sudden. He has really slowed down in his skating. That is hampering him for sure. And yeah, just all three zones at both ends of the rink and through the neutral zone, he has not been good. He is a turnover machine right now. Nick Dowd hockey games these days are basically just turnover, 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 penalty, turnover, turnover, penalty, turnover. I'm not sure what can be done about it really at this point. I'm not sure that anyone right now would be looking for a guy like this in a trade. I don't think you would get back very much right now with the way that he has played this season, but I don't think it would even be about that. It would kind of just be about, you know, addition by subtraction almost. Get somebody else into that spot in the lineup and playing those minutes because he has been an absolute anchor out there. So yeah, I'm not really sure if that's something that the Caps would look to explore at this point. I know that like he brings a lot of intangibles off the ice, right? He's a very important guy in the locker room for sure. Veteran presence, leadership, all of that. Totally get that. But yeah, right now, like you cannot have this guy playing this amount of minutes right now. And he has been far from the only problem, obviously. But yeah, it's just something to think about moving forward. So back to the game, third period, right? Nothing happens up until the Washington Capitals pull their netminder Logan Thompson at the end of the game to try to get something going, to try to get this thing tied up. And again, it's just turnovers. And then it's a couple of empty net goals for the Panthers, Anton Lundell. And then, of course, Carter Verhaeghe. He's always got to get one against the Caps. So, yeah, that turns what was a 3-2 deficit into a 5-2 deficit. And ultimately, unfortunately, babes, 5-2, that would be your final score. All right, babes, that is going to be it for this one. I've had about all that I can take here. Yeah, we will see what happens in the Caps' next game. Happens to be in Colorado against the Colorado Avalanche. So that one could get ugly for sure if the Caps are going to come forth with this type of effort here again. It could get pretty ugly in Colorado. That is for sure. So we will see what they're able to bring for that one. If it's going to be any better than tonight, we will see if they can get some healthy bodies back into the lineup. Again, still tonight, no Tom Wilson, no Justin Sourdif, obviously still no Pierre-Luc Dubois as well. Yeah, Tom Wilson, apparently, allegedly, they've been saying over and over again, game after game after game, that he is close, but then he continues not to be able to play in the game. So we will see if he is able to be back for that game in Colorado. Justin Sourdif as well. He did practice with the team today in a full contact jersey for the first time since his injury. So that is a very good sign for Justin Sourdif. So yeah, we will see what happens if the Caps can get one or both of those guys back for this game in Colorado. That would certainly help. But yeah, the Caps as a whole, they're going to have to bring just a much better effort to even have a hope in hell of winning a game against the Avalanche in Colorado. So we will see what happens there. It could get ugly. It could get ugly. It could also be one of the very best wins of the entire season if they can somehow pull it off. So we will see what happens there. Babes, again, thank you all so much for being here. Group therapy, right? We try to work through this really frustrating times for Washington Capitals fans right now. I know I am one of them, but yeah, we just have to persevere, right? There's nothing that we can do about it. We're not the ones on the ice. We just have to watch and comment on what we see as fans, right, who are removed from it. So you guys, drop me your comments down below. Can't wait to hear what you guys thought of that one. I don't know. I don't really have much else to say, babes. It's not been pretty. But yeah, thank you all again so much for being here. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, click on that subscribe button down below. If you have not done so already, if you have already subscribed, then, you know, share us with a fellow Caps fan, family member, friend, coworker, whoever it may be. Get the word out, you know, spread the word that we are here doing these post-game reaction videos after every Washington Capitals game. I really appreciate that. So babes, mwah! I'm sorry that we didn't have a better result for you all here tonight, but what can we do, right? Until next time, and as always, let's go, Caps.